Hurricane Melissa, now a Category 4 hurricane, expected to turn into a Category 5 before it makes landfall late Monday or Tuesday. Flash Lead Meteorologist Dave Downey with you. We've been tracking Melissa for the past week. Landfall imminent, likely in the next 36 hours in the island of Jamaica. It's looking like Melissa will be the strongest storm to ever hit Jamaica in terms of both wind speed and minimum central pressure in modern history. Courtesy of See Jamaica with the live looks behind us. We've donated to them. They've been giving us some awesome live looks on their YouTube channel. You can go check them out. They've got about 10 different cameras posted up around the island. We'll see how long, of course, once Melissa makes landfall, the cameras keep broadcasting. Here is the current satellite presentation of Melissa. A very well-defined eye here. It has been moving a little bit quicker to the west in the past day or so. Here we are noon on Sunday. It's going to keep moving west and then eventually make a northeastward turn. And then once it makes that turn, at that point, it's on final approach to the island of Jamaica. There are hurricane hunters on their way into the storm right now. I'm refreshing this page just to see if they've made their way in. They're on their way. We'll check back at the end of this recording to see if there's had any new information. The last hurricane hunters went in a couple hours ago around 9 a.m. Eastern time. Here's courtesy Brian McNulty, University of Miami. Really cool. He puts together awesome radar loops of every landfalling system, whether it's in Central America, the Caribbean, Mexico, you name it. This is from the Kingston, Jamaica radar. Very apparent eye feature here, strengthening. Again, Melissa's a Category 4. There are some indications we could be seeing an eye wall replacement cycle going. That weakens the storm temporarily, but it broadens, makes the wind field a whole lot bigger. We'll keep an eye on that trend. Let's show you the cone from the National Hurricane Center. The 11 a.m. advisory, hurricane warning up for the entire island of Jamaica. Hurricane watch up for the eastern coast of Cuba. Would also expect hurricane watches coming soon for the Bahamas, maybe the Turks and Caicos as well, as Melissa will still be a major hurricane when it hits Cuba Tuesday night into early Wednesday, and then will be a hurricane, probably a Cat 1, Cat 2, when it hits the Bahamas, and could even threaten Bermuda by late this week. The key messages from the Hurricane Center, these are always very important, especially when we're dealing with an imminent landfalling hurricane. They're telling folks in Jamaica to seek shelter now. Damaging winds, heavy rainfall today, Monday, and even into Tuesday will cause, they don't use this word lightly, catastrophic, life-threatening flash floodings, numerous landslides before those winds, hurricane force, major hurricane, 110-plus mile-per-hour winds arrive Monday night and especially Tuesday morning through Tuesday afternoon and evening. Well, extensive infrastructural damage, long-duration power, communication outages, and isolation of communities expected, not even possible. They're using the verbiage expected, along with, of course, the storm surge along that southern coast as Melissa makes landfall. This will be the worst storm to hit Jamaica since at least Hurricane Gilbert back in 1988. The big difference with Melissa versus Gilbert in 88, 37 years ago, is that Melissa has the water that Gilbert did not. Gilbert, a faster moving storm, but it had the winds. It was a Cat 4 when it made landfall. Melissa is likely going to be stronger in terms of wind speed when it makes landfall, and it's going to have a whole lot more rain. More on the rain here in just a second. There is some timing and location detail differentiators between the models in terms of when Melissa will make landfall and exactly where. Does it come on shore near Kingston, a little further west towards Montego Bay? Of course, Montego Bay is on the north coast, not the south. But here's the Hurricane HAFS B model making a landfall on the southwestern coast. This is at around 11 a.m. Eastern time Tuesday morning. Jamaica operates in Eastern Standard Time, so this time of the year, that's Central Daylight. This would be 10 a.m. local time Tuesday morning. Tracking across the island, take about probably 4 hours to make its way across the island once it does make landfall. The HAFS A model with landfall a little bit later, around 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. local time. And the European model, as it zooms us all the way out here, the European model is much faster. It makes landfall at about 5 a.m. local time, weaker. It is not going to have pressure 970. It's already down in the 950s right now. Melissa, likely going to be a Cat 5 when it makes landfall in Jamaica. We'll explain why here in just a second. So makes landfall likely Tuesday morning in Jamaica, back over water. Could re-strengthen a little bit. It won't have much time to do so before it makes another landfall in eastern Cuba. Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Impacts in the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos Wednesday. And then by Thursday afternoon, it's in the open waters of the southwestern Atlantic. This is the Google DeepMind Ensemble Probabilistic Model. What this basically means is this is the model that has performed the best with this system in the past few days. All of these numbers are each one of the model's 50 interpretations of the future. You've got some numbers in here, 898, 893. That is an incredibly intense storm. The average of all these numbers before landfall is around 915 or 920, which would translate to winds about 170 miles per hour off the coast. Of course, when the storm makes landfall with surface friction, those winds come down, but still, I would gander that this is going to be a Cat 5 storm when it makes landfall. It isn't yet. It has been kind of steady, plateauing with its intensity since about midnight, early Sunday morning, as it rapidly intensified Saturday evening. You see the satellite picture, bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I mean, that eye just screams potential Cat 5, especially with the really warm ocean waters we were talking about in our last video on Friday. Back to the rainfall. This really is the main story with this. Back in 2017, Hurricane Harvey, of course, hit Houston. It had nowhere near the winds of what Melissa's going to have on the island of Jamaica. But we had rain totals in and around Houston, 50-plus inches of rain. They were measuring the rainfall in feet, and that's what they're going to be doing in Jamaica. Look at this bullseye, up to 40 inches of rain, and even in this pink contour, I would say 2+ feet of rain in the eastern half of the island, a foot plus of rain in eastern Cuba. Mudslides are going to be a huge concern down the Jamaican mountains, along with flash flooding, the storm surge along the coast. This is going to be a very, very bad situation for Jamaica. Again, the worst storm since at least Gilbert in 1988, and likely worse than Gilbert in terms of both wind speed and total rainfall and just overall impacts. I'm going to refresh this page real quick. The Hurricane Hunters, as we mentioned, heading into the storm, new data coming. We'll go back to the satellite you've been watching in the bottom left-hand corner the whole time. We could, as I mentioned, be seeing an eye wall replacement cycle as I refresh the radar image. But that wouldn't be good because that would just broaden the wind field, make it a whole lot bigger, have hurricane-force winds cover potentially a bigger swath of the island. This is the current wind swath. Hurricane winds do not extend that far, I should say, outside the center, but look at the radius of tropical storm force winds. The eastern quarter of the island already seeing winds to tropical storm force 40+ miles per hour. So the main story, Melissa, going to be the worst hurricane to hit Jamaica probably in modern times, with wind, storm surge, heavy rain. That is the worst part with this, is that this is not a fast mover, just a quick hitter for Jamaica. This is a 2.5-day long marathon of horrendous conditions across the island. We'll be live streaming coverage here on our YouTube channel. Have a couple hours later today, several hours Monday afternoon, and then we'll be live Tuesday morning for the extent of the impact on Jamaica, and then Wednesday as well, as Melissa moves off to the northeast, affecting Cuba, the Bahamas, the Turks and Caicos. Of course, we know that the National Hurricane Center, the World Meteorological Organization, retires hurricane names that cause extensive catastrophic damage. I don't know if we'll be seeing Melissa on the list in 6 years in 2031. Again, we'll be back with live coverage later today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. Hopefully folks in Jamaica are battered down, but you see cars still traveling there in Jamaica. The airports have closed. We'll have live coverage again starting later today here at Flash.